This is our weekly catch-up with what's been going on in the cryptocurrency markets, and we're going to focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Hello, I'm David Jones. This is the weekly video I do with Capital.com, where we take a look at two of the more popular cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's been a fairly quiet couple of weeks, I think, for these two. There's been nothing in the way of major announcements, but they're still interesting, I think, particularly Bitcoin, because a big level we've been talking about over recent months has continued to hold, and I think it's really obvious what we should be looking at over the next few days. So let's get into the chart straight away and just highlight this zone on Bitcoin, where if we're going to start seeing a base building, it's really important that these levels hold over the next couple of weeks. As usual, we're going to start with the big picture view for Bitcoin. I think the daily charts are always the important ones for these cryptocurrencies. It's too easy to get tied up in the short-term movements, but let's look at the bigger picture. Not much has changed over the last couple of weeks, but what we're seeing, these big levels that I've been mentioning in all the recent videos, 5,500, the lows from November last year, before the price went really parabolic, through to the lows for this year, around about 5,900. We have seen these continue to hold. We've been as low as, what, 5,740, and then about a week ago, 5,760. So we are still seeing ahead of 5,500 an appetite to be a buyer. So if we're going to see some sort of base forming, this looks like a pretty good area. You know, it's been an area where the market has seen value in the past when it comes to Bitcoin. Also, for fans of oscillators, look at what's happening with the RSI here. If we treated this like any other market, we've got the RSI hitting a low as Bitcoin fell in mid-June. Bitcoin then falls a bit further towards the end of June, but the RSI is making a higher low. So this is known as bullish divergence, where the market makes new lows, but the RSI is making higher lows. It can be a suggestion that maybe the weakness is starting to run out of steam. As usual, I think, with the way that sentiment is towards the cryptos at the moment, I don't think we're going to suddenly see the market go rocketing away. But I think it's interesting to watch how it reacts over the next few days if we see it sell off again. We want to see if we're going to build a base here, 5,500 holding. Let's take a quick look at the shorter term chart. So we've got an hourly chart here. I think what's interesting is how quick it moves away from these sub 6,000 areas. Here we go. On the 24th of June, you can see the sharp move up, and the same sort of move again on the 29th of June. So there does, for now at least, appear to be an appetite to be a buyer below 6,000. But let's not get too carried away. We still have big obstacles from the last 3 to 4 weeks coming in ahead of 6,900, ultimately 6,800. So I think if we're going to see any sort of sustainable recovery, we have to see this, let's say, 7,000 level cracked. But for now, sub 6,000, there does appear to be an appetite for people buying in. So what I think is interesting, well, the fact the levels have held, but also how quickly, as we saw in that chart, the price has rallied from that below 6,000 area. I think if we are going to see it turn around, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a very different market to how it was in the second half of last year. You know, so much of the hype has gone, but let's see how it performs over the next couple of weeks. Do these lows continue to hold, and is there still an appetite to be a buyer below 6,000? When it comes to Ethereum, similar sort of sentiment, slightly different looking chart, but again, some obvious levels to look at. So let's take a look at that one. Here's the chart for Ethereum. Slightly different, but the same sort of mentality and I think psychology behind it. If we look at the lows for the year so far on Ethereum, coming in here early April, around about 350, so just ahead of 350. We've seen the price move down a week ago towards 402, and it has rallied. So again, with Ethereum, the lows for the year are the big ones, ahead of that 350 level. Not as convincing an argument on the RSI. We don't have this bullish divergence. We still have just about this trend since the beginning of May still intact. So we're 2 months into that, but 350, the big level to look at on Ethereum. Let's take a look on the hourly chart to pick up that trend in a bit more detail. There we go. So that's pretty clear. There's the trend from May. The trend line's done a pretty good job of holding any weakness. Okay, it's starting to have a look through it, or it has done over the last couple of days, but it's still early days for the break in this trend. Maybe if we saw strength through 490, it builds a better argument for that trend breaking. But like Bitcoin, we do have some problem areas a bit higher, running from 530 to 550. So at the moment, the lows for the year are the big ones to watch. That's going to be interesting to see if the market continues to hold there. We're seeing the first attempts to break out of that 2-month downtrend. It's early days, but for me, it's all about, does that support continue to hold? So the lows for the year are holding, and what's also interesting is we are seeing maybe the first attempt of breaking out of that 2-month downtrend. As with Bitcoin, I don't think we're going to see a handbrake turn for these markets and they go racing away. But again, there are some obvious levels that do need to hold if we're going to build some sort of positive medium-term recovery from here. We'll start wrapping things up there, but as usual, if you like the video, click on the thumbs up. Every Wednesday, I do a session where we look at what's going on in major markets, 12:30 on a Wednesday UK time. We do it via Facebook Live. It's probably the easiest way of watching it. So if you're on Facebook, if you like the Capital.com page, you'll get notified when we go live. As usual though, with YouTube, we try and upload a video every day looking at various markets, traditional FX, cryptocurrencies, gold, oil, trading psychology, all of this sort of stuff. So to never miss out, just click on subscribe. And if you click on the alarm bell notification next to that, you get automatically notified every time a new video gets uploaded. But for this week, for the cryptos, we'll leave it there. So from me, David Jones, and Capital.com, I hope you have a good trading week.